Hey everybody, welcome back to another review. Hope you guys been enjoying the content channel as of late. Just a couple of reviews just plaguing the channel right now. Just didn't really plan on it, but they're there and they're floating around now. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the content lately. And we're back with another double take. Lately, me and my brother, we haven't really done some of these. And for this, he wanted to join, so we are now doing another one of them. And we're doing of which in a series that I've had my trepidations with, and to be frank, this wasn't something that I was completely interested in seeing, but because of his interest, it kind of outweighed my own trepidations. So took him to see this, and we are now going to provide us a double take on the latest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That film that we're going to be discussing today is The Fantastic Four: First Steps, which was directed by Matt Shakman, who you guys may be familiar with if you guys are Marvel gurus, know your Marvel history. He did the mini-series WandaVision, which premiered on Disney+, which I was fine with. I thought it was okay. Now he steps into a feature film with The Fantastic Four. This is a second reboot of the series, the first of which was the 2015 version, which I have seen. It was the only version of the Fantastic Four I've seen, and was not particularly good. Of course, there's a history there with studio interference and amongst other things. And now, it has now been brought to Disney, and now it is under the Marvel umbrella, and we now have this latest retelling of the Fantastic Four, which stars Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Ebon Moss-Bachrach, butchered the hell out of that name, sorry, and Joseph Quinn, who round out the cast, as well as people like Julia Gardner, Paul Walter Hauser, just to name a few names here and there. And as the story goes, this takes place in a different universe, Earth 828, according to the Wikipedia. And we are introduced to the Fantastic Four, and they have extraordinary abilities. One can stretch themselves, one can create themselves into like a fire element, one's made out of rocks, and one possesses the ability of invisibility. And they are the only protectors of this Earth. So there's no Avengers, there's no other characters looming around, at least by the telling of the story. And they appear to be doing a pretty good job, as it all seems. But a bigger threat arrives to the planet, first of which is within this silver type of person, who's played by Julia Gardner, who heeds a warning to the planet that their planet is basically marked for death by a greater being known as Galactus, who is a planet devourer. And the Fantastic Four assemble, and they go on an adventure to seek out Galactus and to hopefully find a way to protect their planet from this impending threat that looms over and is making its way closer and closer to their planet. So, as I illustrated up front, the Fantastic Four, I'm not extremely familiar with them as characters. I'm only familiar with that of the 2015 film, which was not good. And, my relationship with the Marvel Cinematic Universe as of late, as I've illustrated many times on this channel, it's been very dry. I've not been so enthusiastic to seek out their films. I seeked out Thunderbolts this year, and I'm happy with doing that because Thunderbolts felt like a different change of pace. So perhaps that was also a bit of a motivation to seek out this film, because there was hope that maybe I was judging things, maybe being too harsh, maybe being too blunt, maybe being too cynical, and maybe there was hope for something a little bit different, maybe providing more distinction as I wanted in the series. And to speak positively for a second, I think that the Fantastic Four, as they are, the cast, I think that they are particularly the highlight for me. I think all of them do a pretty good job individually. I think that they all put in good work. And, just as a cast that they put together, I think that they are just, as they are good performances, are good performers on their own. Pedro, he's everywhere, but there's some reason to it as well. He's a capable performer. Vanessa Kirby is very good. Joseph Quinn, all of them, they seem pretty good. And even the supporting players that they have, Julia Gardner, who plays this Silver Surfer type, she does pretty well. Galactus, the voice from Ralph Ineson, I think that's his name, does also a pretty good job presenting that kind of big type of threat within his voice. But beyond that, the biggest problem that I think that the film bears is that thing that I have been looking for in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is this idea of distinction. Because narratively, there's something interesting here. There's a story about change, a story about adapting to new environments, and as the story was going on, it was like building up to specific points. At some points you were thinking things might occur, and I would have given the film props if it actually took those sort of risk. But the fundamental issue with the film is exactly that: is that it doesn't really take a risk. It plays itself extremely safe, and for a large portion of its time, a lot of things don't really happen, and they just kind of just go with the motions, and yet there is this building up to the arrival of Galactus, this big threat, and really nothing amounts to anything except a climactic action sequence, and it just doesn't feel like that there is little plot elements or threads or elements to shape that can make the story feel a lot more unique and weightful. Because the score that's in the background, there's like little things visually and technically that are trying to amplify a more, heavier or kind of a dreadful type of feeling. But when it's all said and done, it just doesn't really do anything. It just feels as though that we set up something and then decided for that thing to not happen because either they felt that it was maybe too risky, or maybe it was not something that would have been welcomed. But I personally would have welcomed a much bolder risk. But it also doesn't help that there's like 4 writers apparently attached to this, which is never really a great sign. But it just really didn't do much for me. I can't sit here and say it's terrible because, like I said, there's some fair performances there. Visually, there's some merit going on, but it's just a story that is all too familiar. It is a story that just doesn't do much of anything to become innovative or distinct. It just pretty much goes with the motions. The Fantastic Four assemble, they fight a big threat, and then story ends. I mean, I don't want to say I'm spoiling the movie, but that pretty much is the movie, and I wish that it was more than that. There were theories, there were things people saying about what the film could be, and, I was kind of sitting there just kind of like, yeah, that would be cool if they did that, and that might actually do happen considering just what they're trying to do with the series, and none of those things really do happen. Instead, it's just, as I described, it's just a very basic type of adventure. And I think that there's something like this, especially with how they're trying to set things up with ideas of change, the idea of time, how you spend it, and ultimately adapting to new environments. If they had just made that risk, if they had just taken the swing that they were also kind of setting up in the movie itself in terms of a story, I feel as though then the distinction would have been there. But they don't. They just decide to play it extremely safe, and what you get is something that is quite vanilla. It's not terrible, but it's just pretty unremarkable. So I mean, comparatively to the 2015 version, this is a better film, obviously, but it just doesn't have a lot going on. So and for the Marvel fans, I mean, go for the don't stay for the post-credit scene because that's the disposable thing. Mid-credit scene, there's something there if you're looking for something. But it's honestly kind of telling when a credit sequence can actually have more impact to the story than the story itself. So I think that should go just to show you something. But yeah, I wasn't particularly wowed by it. I think it's very just basic, and I think that it just doesn't do much of anything to really be more than just the sum of its parts. And I think that I find that to be very, very unfortunate. So yeah, so those are my thoughts on Fantastic Four First Steps. I think it's very, very okay. I don't hate it. I don't particularly love it either. I just think that I'm not going to remember much of it once a few weeks pass, or once we get through deeper, like if we get to the next Avengers, I honestly don't think that there is like a reason to seek this out. Like as a story, there just isn't really much there. There's something of a plot, like some small little thing that is, I guess, integral to whatever happens next in these ongoing storylines, but it's something that can be summarized in like literally one sentence. It's not something that you have to sit for like 2 hours to get. So, yeah. So it's just okay. Extremely basic, extremely formulaic, and just does little to impress, if you're asking me. So, but those are my thoughts on the Fantastic Four First Steps. And now we're going to do my brother's take on the film. He has a different opinion than mine. So we'll hear how he feels about the film. And we'll be cutting to him right now.
Hey everybody, I'm back once again, and I just want to say I apologize for not being back for a few films. I did see Smurfs. I didn't feel like wasting my time like seeing or like explaining my opinion on it, because like everyone's opinion is kind of the same, saying that it's just bad and stuff. I haven't heard a single positive thing about it, and yeah. And there was also a couple films I wish I could have explained, but I think I was either too busy or I think I was tired and stuff. And for this one, I was like, yes, I could do it because there's actually something good and stuff. Of course, I want to explain to it. So yeah, this movie is, I think, the first film of Phase 6. I think so, if I'm correct. Yep. And the cast is pretty good. I think, I mean, my opinion, four writers is funny. I want to point that out because it's four writers. Get it? Four, like Fantastic Four. And then there's also, I don't know what else to say. There's, there you got Galactus, of course, which I'm going to be honest with you. It wasn't, in my opinion, I wish they could have done a little more something with it. I'm not going to spoil it. But yeah, it's a good movie. I'd say, yeah, it's better than 2015's Fantastic Four. And I just hope for a good movie for Avengers. I just hope it does good. Like we still have a lot of answers to explain. I'm wondering about the X-Men, because the X-Men are coming back, right? And like I get the multiverse probably if they're gonna do that type of thing, or there's also uh there's also the leads, like guys, that you guys heard that Pedro is the lead. I heard that he's the lead, which in my opinion it should have been Bucky Barnes, because Bucky, if you guys understand, Bucky was Captain America's best friend. And I'm not talking about the new one. I was talking about the old one, Chris Evans. And I kind of wish that he could take his place and stuff like that. I mean, like he doesn't have to pull an Avengers like assemble line again. He doesn't have to. It's just that it would make sense for him just to take his place and stuff. I just think it would be kind of cool. I mean, I also heard that Thor is the second lead, and I think, oh, that's pretty good, because this is my theory also, that I believe that Thor will somehow, I don't know how, but somehow will end up being the TVA. They're going to be in a motion scene where he's going to meet Loki and have their moment and stuff like that. And I don't know, like probably that's going to be probably somewhere in the beginning of the movie, because I don't remember where Thor is at the moment. But yeah, I also could definitely say that I'm, without spoiling for sure, that I'm a little excited to see Fantastic Four meet the Thunderbolts and stuff like that. And also, let me see. Also, yeah, like X-Men also. I'm excited to see Cyclops. Like Cyclops, one of my favorite characters. There's Cyclops. There's also uh is there another one? I don't know. I feel like Cyclops is one of my favorite X-Men. I mean Deadpool is also a good one, but he's a we call him a trainee and stuff. But we won't see him in there unless he does. I don't know. But yeah, that's my thought of Fantastic Four because I know I don't have a lot to say with it without spoiling it because I definitely say there's some visuals and there's some things that are beautiful about it, but I don't think I'm just gonna say like my brother. I think it just seems like a basic superhero film, you know. Bad guy shows up, protect the world, and they defeat him, and done, like that. Simple as that. So yeah, that's my thoughts, and I hope for Avengers. I hope Avengers will be good. I hope it's not lazy writing and stuff like that, which we'll see. We'll totally see about that. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys later in the next movies to come. So bye.
Alrighty, those are our thoughts on the Fantastic Four First Steps. Hope you guys enjoyed our thoughts. Let us know your thoughts on the Fantastic Four First Steps if you guys have seen it. Hopefully the mic is picking me up. And if you guys, of course, have seen the other Fantastic Four iterations, let us know your thoughts on the 2015 version, the Chris Evans films, your guys' thoughts on how they're going to integrate all this stuff into the Avengers movies coming up in the future. Let us know all your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for our thoughts, guys, our little review. Thank you guys for joining us. And until then, we will catch you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.